And when they came to the place which is called the Skull, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right and one on the left. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they cast lots to divide his garments. And the people stood by watching. But the rulers scoffed at him, saying, He saved others. Let him save himself, if he is the Christ of God, his chosen one. The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him vinegar, and saying, If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. There was also an inscription over him, This is the King of the Jews. One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us. But the other rebuked him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due rewards of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong. And he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And he said to him, Truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. And this is the word of our Lord. Thanks be to God. All right. So in terms of setting, one of the things that Charlie likes to do is he kind of likes to put things into perspective of what's going on because, this is text from, years and years and years ago. So in context, this is obviously the crucifixion, which is going to lead into the chain of events that becomes one of the biggest moments on our church calendar. When I was reading through this, I was thinking, now, people are probably going to be sitting here going, this is the build-up to something big. And most of the time, the build-up to something big isn't really sought after. You're kind of waiting for the big moment and not the build-up to it. But I think this is really interesting because while this is probably an overlooked passage in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of good nuggets of wisdom that come from this. With it rightfully being our celebration for Thanksgiving Sunday, I thought, what in here kind of helps to portray the thankfulness of human lives. There's a lot of negativity in this little chunk of text, and doesn't sound like there's a whole lot to be grateful for, but Jesus with his infinite wisdom still helps to give that to us. The main thing I think I want to talk about today, with it being Thanksgiving Sunday, is the fact that we should be thankful for each and every day, for moments big and small, and for each other. Last time I was here doing a sermon, I kind of had this big idea, and then I broke it up into 3 points. I'll probably do the same thing and throw some I've dubbed Charlieisms in there. I'll probably mention the Cleveland Browns at some point, and something along those lines. But I'm trying to twist it in and make it a little bit my own. So if you hear something that's like, oh, that sounds like something, that's a Charlieism right there. But be thankful for each and every day, for moments big and small, and for each other. In this passage, you probably are like, now how in the world did he get that? But here's what I see from it. This story helps to remind us of this fact of life, to be thankful for all these little things through the showcasing of how harsh life can be when you're not appreciative and you're not thankful, and how much we rely on each other as human beings. The first one, how harsh life can be seen in, obviously, this first little chunk, verses 33 to 38. In this little chunk, this is kind of setting the scene for what's happening. Jesus is being crucified, and there's other prisoners there, and for the soldiers and the kings there, instead of, going along with it as painless as possible, they're beating a dead horse. They're beating Jesus and other prisoners while they're down. The soldiers are coming up and offering him vinegar in obviously a time where, you're going to want something better than that. They're telling him to save yourself. If you think if you are who you say you are, let's see it. I'm waiting. And they're mocking him and making a fool of him. And it's honestly heartbreaking that other human beings can treat each other to that degree of just harshness. And on the other hand, we have the other prisoners there. While everyone else is seeing Jesus as kind of a sign of, let's point at him and laugh while he's down, the other prisoners see him as a shining light, a beacon of hope that they have most likely lost throughout their time as being prisoners. This conversation they have from verses 39 through 43, one of them is saying, please, whenever this is all said and done with, when all of our suffering is done with, please remember me when I come into your kingdom. And obviously at the end, Jesus wraps it up well and says, I say to you today, you will be with me in paradise. What a great way to kind of put a positive spin on this very, very grim situation. But obviously there's two different sides of the story here. On one light, we have the negativity of the soldiers, the negativity of the kings, just negative, 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 you versus me, I'm doing what I'm going to do and you're going to do what you're going to do, and if we don't agree, then we're enemies. And on the other side is the positive side. While stuff is grim and it's not looking good, there's still things to be appreciative about, to be hopeful for, and to lead us further through our lives. All right, now here's another Charlieism coming up. As we do every Sunday, we ask ourselves, now this happened many, 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 many years ago. How can we apply it in the great year of 2025, getting close to 2026? How does this impact me today? And there's a lot of ways that we can interpret what's happening here. But going back to the point of being thankful for each and every day, having for moments big and small, and being thankful for each other, we can cut that into little chunks and kind of focus on each one of those and see how this passage portrays that and how we can apply it today. All right, let's start with the first one. Being thankful each and every day. Now, obviously, this is all stuff you've heard before. This is stuff that's littered all throughout this great piece of text. Thanksgiving, we say it at least once every year, right? But being thankful for each and every day, I want you to think about the last time you just sat and didn't do an action. Maybe you just sat outside in nature and just enjoyed it. Or maybe if you were inside, you sat down on the couch, the TV was turned off, and you just sat there and noticed your surroundings and the things that are going on, the people you're around, the place you're in, maybe the food you just ate or going to eat. Thanksgiving. You never know when your time on earth will come to an end. And these little moments sometimes get passed up because we only think of life in the present. I got to go here, and then I got to do this, and then after I do this, I got to do that tomorrow, then I got to schedule this for 6 months in advance, and then before I even think about doing that, I have to, take care of myself in some other way. There's a lot of complications for the simple things in life, so we tend to overlook them. But the little things is what makes life so precious. Obviously, the big moments are going to be stuff that we remember, but little things also help to carry us through to those big moments. So savor and thrive in the present, because I feel like, especially in today's society, there's a lot of future. When you're going through middle and high school, this is what you're told the entire time. You show up your freshman year of high school, they say, what do you want to do for the next 60 years? Now, if you know a freshman high school student out there that knows what they want to do for the next 60 years of their life, I would like to meet them, because I had no clue. That is just something that it sounds almost comical, but it's very true, because we're always planning for the future. Obviously, you want to set yourself up for success, but I feel like at times as human beings, we forget the present and focus so much on the future or the past. We got to find that fine balance, and we got to make sure that the moments that are happening right now are also appreciated. While we're here on this earth, I would always recommend people to try to do things they've never done before while you can. Obviously, we've talked about a lot over the years about, how life on this earth ends and then we go into eternal life, and then you can do all the stuff later. But there's stuff that you can do in this spiritual realm that Charlie has talked about that you can't do in the physical realm, and vice versa. In this physical realm, there's a lot of things that you can do. So many things that if I sat here and listed them all, we'd be here until Christmas, maybe a little after. But there's a lot of things you can do in this physical world. And I know there's probably some of you out there who have gone through the same thing that I've gone through, where you're kind of sitting there on a down day where you don't really have anything going on, and you're strangely uncomfortable, as if you're not doing something that can bring you more joy in life, as in going for a walk, or calling a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, or checking up on, I don't know, your friends, family, writing a letter. When's the last time you wrote a letter? Not an email, a letter with your hand. So much writing that your hand starts to cramp if you're electronic like me, too much. When's the last time you did something like, these little things we can all do. If I handed everyone a piece of paper and a pen right now, we can all do it. But we haven't done those things in a while because we're mostly focused on other stuff. But at least for me, when I start getting older, I'm going to probably miss the fact that it's going to be hard to write something. I'm going to miss the fact that I used to sit in school and write papers and papers and papers and think, how in the world did I do that? So while we're here each and every day, let's try and do stuff that we can be thankful for with the gift that we've been given. I think that's a great way to approach this passage, as, Jesus is in probably, if not the worst condition that anyone could possibly be in, and he still is looking forward for the future. We're going to go to paradise. That word is not used very often, but paradise. You can probably picture paradise. For some people that's a beach, palm tree. For other people it's a secluded cabin in the woods, no human interaction. But paradise, that's something that Jesus is looking forward to, and he tries to encourage the prisoners to do the same in their time of need. That's some ways that we can be thankful for each and every day. Next one is being thankful for moments big and small. I kind of talked about this in the previous little point, but with life, there's very many highlights. There's these big moments, going on that big trip you've been planning for, or going to see a concert or celebrity, or going to see nature and going to do something big. One of those, I don't know if you all have ever seen Inside Out, the Disney movie, but it's those golden little nuggets, the golden memories, the memories that you keep for the rest of your life, to when you're on your deathbed, you're going to be thinking, that time I went and visited, Niagara Falls, the Grand Canyons, saw this person, went on this trip. That was awesome. I'm very happy I did that. Those are the big moments. But in those big moments are little moments that, again, sometimes get overrun. The little moments can be so much as a conversation you had, a meal you ate. Thanksgiving again. I'm talking a lot about food here. A drink you had, experience you had, music you listened to. Just these small things that I know we all go through, but when's the last time you thought about all these things? You know what I mean? So try to appreciate the smaller things as much as you appreciate the big things. Because if you don't appreciate the small things, then your life's just going to be that much less sweet. The little things make the big things really nice. As I've been busy the past few months doing marching band shenanigans, I was reminded of this occurrence that I guess I put the students through. Anytime, especially during band camp, close to summer, when it's, 90, 92, 95 degrees, and you got to think, we're sitting here on this big old slab of concrete in this parking lot. So 95 actually means probably 100. So you are quite literally just cooking for at least 4 hours a day. And one of the things that I've started doing through my experiences of other kids doing this is anytime the sun is just beating on you and a cloud comes by, I always say out loud, "Thank you, cloud." Or if a breeze comes by and it's nice and cool, I say, "Thank you, breeze." And obviously the kids are going to be looking at me like, what is this guy doing? He's lost his... obviously we're appreciative of the breeze and the cloud, but I'm not going to say it out loud. But I think I do it because it's kind of, if you put into the world what you hope to receive. So if you say, "Thank you, cloud," maybe another cloud will come by next week that wouldn't have come by if you didn't say it. But it's those little things that everyone's obviously appreciative of, the cloud or a breeze on a hot day, but you don't really say anything about it. You just experience it, and that's just life. But it's those little things that if you are thankful for and you're appreciative of it, can make these big moments even better. You can create a lot of opportunities through these smaller moments by taking action, even if the action is just saying, thank you, breeze, thank you, sun, thank you, whatever, or if it's actually doing something. Those big moments that we talked about obviously don't just happen. You don't just show up at Niagara Falls or show up at the Grand Canyon. You plan for it. And so in the times where you may think, I just want to sit down and turn on the TV and turn my brain off for 3 or 4 hours, maybe write down a list of stuff you'd want to do in the next 5, 10 years. Because if you write it down, some people believe that it turns it into not a wish in your head anymore. It becomes true, but you have to make it true. You have to put that effort forward. So in small moments, try to appreciate all the things that are going on and how you can make small moments be bigger. If you're going on a trip, try and plan with others. If you are trying to do something for yourself, how do you set yourself up in order to do it? There are people that run marathons all the time. You think they just show up and run a marathon? Oh, that was fun. No, they train for months and months and sometimes years in order to do something like that. And it's the small moments, the small times where they, instead of sitting on the couch for 3 hours, they said, I'm just gonna do something. It's probably gonna not be fun, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for a run and I'm gonna see what happens. And then a big moment happens. You see what I mean here? So be thankful for these moments that are big and small. And last but not least, be thankful for each other. Human beings are, in my opinion, made to interact with each other. Earlier when I was talking about paradise, I jokingly included some people's version of paradise as being secluded in the woods in a cabin. While that is very true, I think over time, that paradise might not be as much of a paradise as you think. Because if you are by yourself and you are lacking human interaction, your body naturally is going to go through some consequences. Now you're probably like, what does he mean by that? But I have research today, proven research. I took this quote from the National Library of Medicine. They have recorded over 40 academic studies that revolved around human beings and how we interact with each other, as well as the pros and cons of interactions and lack thereof. After studying 40 experiments that were done by either universities, professional labs, etc., the National Library of Medicine, 3 authors put all this information together, and their evaluation has been narrowed down by me, you're welcome, into 3 sentences. Here are the 3 sentences that I believe they were trying to convey through this research. Not just, I thought of this and it'd be fun. This is research, that scientific research that has been done. Social connection is a pillar of lifestyle medicine. Humans are wired to connect, and this connection affects our health. From psychological theories to recent research, there is significant evidence that social support and feeling connected with others can help people maintain a healthy body mass index, control blood sugars, improve cancer survival, decrease cardiovascular mortality, decrease depressive symptoms, mitigate PTSD symptoms, and improve overall mental health. Now, this is obviously, I just had seven significant points that if I said you could today decrease your chances of having a fatal run-in with cancer, wouldn't you be like, oh yeah, sign me up? If I said you could, for free, today, starting right now, control your blood sugars or improve your overall mental health or maintain a healthy body mass index, I don't know a single person who'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good personally. But it's true. The first sentence that I put is a very, very astounding to me. Social connection is a pillar of lifestyle medicine. Not a choice, not a, if you don't do this, it's okay. It is a pillar of lifestyle medicine. Human beings are made to interact with each other. So while we're here talking about how we can be thankful and appreciative for everyday life, look around the room. You've probably interacted with some people in here today, not just me spewing, but we're hopefully all going to go down and have a nice Thanksgiving meal. I challenge you to find one person that you haven't talked to today, or maybe in a while, or maybe never. You've never talked to this person. I want you to just say, "Hey, this is who I am. It's nice to see you here today. I'm thankful for you being here today," so we can share this moment together. Right? Wouldn't that make a difference in not just our setting, but in the world? If instead of seeing a guy walking on the street and saying, "How's this guy going to make my life worse?" instead thinking, "How can I make his life better?" You know what I mean? It's those little things and being thankful for this physical realm that we're in. And sometimes I feel like we aren't appreciative of all the tiny things that come with it. Human beings, I believe, are made to be here for each other. We literally would not be here if human beings did not interact. We are built on the foundation that we are going to build something together. We are going to better ourselves together. And throughout the many, many years has obviously led to where we are today. Obviously, being here for each other can all be positive, but even when life, doesn't give you the lemons that you need to make your lemonade and things aren't going well, still being there for each other is very important. I feel like that's another aspect that sometimes we're not thankful for. If you are going through something that is honestly putting you at rock bottom, and it's one person, all it takes is one person to say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you." Think about how much that has changed your perception on what you're going through if you've gone through something like that. Now, I haven't gone through anything, hopefully soon, that put me at rock bottom, but I know someone that has. Here's the final Charlieism, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns. Charlie Evans is a Cleveland Browns fan, and I know you all know that. Don't know why, but he is. Now, you're probably thinking, how is this going to be whatever, but I was curious about the Browns because he's talked about the Browns a whole lot, and I got to think, no way that he's still following this team after all these years. So I did my own independent research. Here are the 3 most condemning stats from the Browns' NFL record in the past 10 years. Okay, here we go. In the past 10 years, the Browns have a total of 2 winning records, meaning they won more games than they lost. Just 2 in the past 10 years. Okay. They have what I am dubbing one defeated season, which is the opposite of an undefeated season, where instead of winning all your games, you lose them all, which I think is equally as impressive. This is in the 2017-2018 season where the Browns went 0-16. That was a rough year. And the last stat I have is they have 1 winning record. The most previous winning record, was in the 2023-2024 season, so pretty recently. So if you saw Charlie around the fall of 2023, spring of 2024, and he seemed real happy, that's why the Browns were winning. And since then, they have won a total of 5 out of 21 games. 5 out of 21 games. I mean, round of applause to them. This is more impressive than, being the top dogs. That's wow, I'm speechless. So why am I bringing all this up about the Browns? Well, obviously we know Charlie loves the Browns, and you might be thinking, now how can you like a team that is that rock bottom? I mean, the Browns, if you talk to a Browns fan that wasn't Charlie Evans in the past, 10, 20 years, you want to know what they probably said? They probably said something along the lines of, back in my day, and then continued about how the Browns were good in, 1900s. Maybe 1910 if we're being generous. But the Browns have not been good for at least, I feel like, my lifetime. Like, they have had good seasons, but not really been, the top dogs as they were back in the 1800s. So why do I bring this up? Because I can't think of a time the Browns didn't play and Charlie did mention it. Let's all get together and go watch the Browns. I'm going to be watching the Browns today. I'll keep you updated. And you're thinking, Lord, here he goes again. But I have been thinking about this, and I think there's a reason he does it. I think even though Well, I think obviously he likes the Browns. I think it's a no-brainer. But I think even though he may turn on the TV, preparing to sit down for 4-ish hours, knowing there's probably close to an 80-90% chance his team that he's rooting for is going to lose, I think he still turns the Browns on every day because it brings people together. I mean, we're talking about it, right? We're talking about the Browns, and I mean, if it wasn't for Charlie in my life, I wouldn't be talking about the Browns at all. If I would, it probably wouldn't be in a positive light. But it's those little things, you know. He jokes about this, and for me, I call it a running bit. You know, there's no way after 2 winning records in the last 10 years that you're still going to be here saying they're the best, they're back this year, Browns are back. That there's got to be some other reason, right? And I think even though he does love the Browns, I think he does it because it brings us together. Not just as, you know, us as a family, but as human beings. You know, it's a conversation starter. I love the Browns. What team do you love? Oh, you love the Chiefs? And then he'll go on about bandwagon or whatever. It's those little things that connects us in a way that we don't really think about. You know, I think hopefully you all are on the same boat as me. When I think about Charlie, I don't immediately go, oh, he's the Browns guy. No, at least for you all, it's probably, oh, he's the pastor of my church, and at least for me, he's my dad. But I'm not thinking, oh, he's the Browns guy. But it's a little nugget of him and his personality, a Charlieism, that connects us all together because it gives us something to talk about. And it's these little things that seem so simple, so obscure and kind of pointless to a degree that actually end up being the thing that connects us all together. It's absolutely fascinating how it all comes together. And I think that human beings, as I said, are meant for interaction. And so not only should we interact with each other, but enjoy the moments when you're interacting with each other. You know, if I'm sitting here and I'm talking to Chadwick and he is just not having it, I hope he would at least give me some kind of sign that he's not having it, because I know that at least I have a positive relationship with Chadwick, and I hope that we'll continue to grow in a positive light, because you only should be striving for that. You know, I know previous sermons in the past he's talked about, you know, if you have something negative in your life, let it go. Cut it off. You're better than that. There's so much time in this world that is dedicated to negativity. So why don't we take initiative and turn it into something positive? So throughout all these different points, to be thankful for each and every day, to be thankful and appreciative for the moments both big and small, and to be thankful for each other, I hope that we can all go forward today, and even if it may be downstairs for 30 seconds, saying, this is a great meal. I'm very appreciative of it. I'm appreciative of the roof over my head, the air conditioning, the people I'm around. I'm appreciative for everything. And I'm thankful to be on this earth. Because what we read is the reason you're here today. And so be appreciative and thankful of those small things as we go forward through your life today. Not just on Thanksgiving Day, not just through the month of November, but throughout your entire life on this earth. Please join me in prayer. Loving God, we thank you for all of the pieces of wisdom you give us each and every day, and the sacrifices you made for us to be where we are today. Today you show us how to be thankful each and every day, to do things that we've never thought we would do, and to savor and thrive in the present. You taught us that for moments big and small, to be appreciative and thankful for the small things that go unnoticed, as little as a cloud or the breeze, and to be thankful for each other, as we have been built to interact with each other as a pillar of our life. Thank you for all the blessings you've given us today, and I'm thankful for everything that you have done for us in order to put us to where we are today. Amen.